Hey, what's up, everybody? It is me, Chris, the DeFi professor. This is the Work With Me stream. Ooh, look at that. I've got things on my face because I'm sitting in front of a window and just that time of day where everything is just right in terms of lighting up my face. Just move that. There we go. Hope everyone's doing well. Hope you had a great Valentine's Day. So, what's interesting about this, I need to let people know that I'm on a couple of changes. Biggest change is unfortunately Retake has kind of pivoted. Of course, nothing but the best to Retake. They I work with them when they were still called Stream.tv. So we've been working together for almost a full actually, yeah, for exactly a full year. And they are going to, well, they first expanded to Solana, and they're mainly just doing agent streaming, which I'm still thinking about doing a little bit of. So it's probably something I'm going to kind of look at as I get my agent up and running. But yeah, all the best to them. They've been so good at just helping my content get seen. I can definitely say that if it wasn't for Retake, I wouldn't have as much of an audience as I do. So uh, anyone who's there, hey, what's up, Zargua? Doing well, brother. Good to see you. This is the Work With Me stream. Do the stream every Monday, normally between 1 and 2 p.m. Eastern. Basically, it's to help put together the newsletter that I do for my education company, Beacon DeFi. For our mastermind members, we have a newsletter that goes out with some insights, some takes. So this is me doing that and telling you a little bit more about, what's going on with the world today. Well, really this week. And I probably should pull up the one thing, which I don't know if I have up here. I don't. So let me pull that up first. Because it's fairly important that I talk about this, in my opinion. Actually, two big things. This is not good. Let's start with this first before we go to Ray Dalio. This is important. One second, let me get my switcher on. This is not good. I mean, this is a huge amount of effort. And to be fair, scammers have the ability to fake this stuff. So I would be very careful looking at stuff like this. Yeah, this is not good at all. This is not good at all. One second, I gotta load up Farcaster just so I can let everybody know that I'm live there. So I need to find another I mean, maybe I can write my own mini app for Farcaster. But yeah, this is not good at all. The fact that scammers are going to the lengths of actually creating things like this, I mean, this part, which you can't see my mouse, but this QR code, that's terrifying. Because this is going to trick a lot of people. Yeah, I need to immediately uh, bookmark this so I can save it for later, because this is not good at all. I'm gonna save it my other bookmarks. Um, Cointelegraph, yeah, Cointelegraph. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, that I mean, if it's going to Ledger and Trezor owners, uh, that's not good. Also, this is probably part of the issue of that third party breach, right? My guess is though that oh no, it is in the United States. I was wondering if it was coming to the United States. This came all the way to Pennsylvania. Yeah, that's not good. They need to. I don't know what the answer is here to get proper enforcement on this. Obviously, in a world where there's a free market and nobody owns anything, and at least on chain, this is something that needs to be curbed because there needs to be proper consumer protection necessary. So we'll see exactly what needs to be fixed here, but hopefully nobody falls prey to this. I did repost it on my personal Twitter. If you see it, please send it far and wide, just so even if it gets community noted, at least people are understanding that scammers are in the business of trying to take your shit. So, and I don't even know. I don't even know what to think about that. Well, let's move on. The other thing I wanted to talk about is uh, is Ray Dalio, and I'll tell you why. This specific post, and I don't follow him on the Beacon account, but um, it's really this portion right here, this stage 6 of the big cycle where there's great disorder arising. This is a problem. And I don't know what things are doing. But if anything, and I'm not saying this because, sometimes, war can be good for business for crypto. This is a huge reason, guys, why it is difficult, in my opinion, to truly trust the banks in terms of what they are saying, what they could be doing. Are we in a situation where the banks can literally freeze your assets? Yes. Now, with that said, are we in a world where certain centralized stablecoins like Circle and Tether can freeze your assets? Yes, but it's really more from transacting with specific smart contracts. It's programmable money, right? But we are in a situation where you're going to be in need of tokens, or rather money, part of your fortune, whatever, that you don't want to be in a situation where something happens and suddenly you are deplatformed, you are debanked, and you cannot custody your assets. That is a huge problem. I don't know the true answer in the financial world what that might be. I don't know if moving to a different bank or an international bank is something that's in your plans or something that you feel is important. But one thing you may want to consider is looking into digital assets. Obviously, none of this is financial advice. But in a world where easily governments can just declare war and just call things, null and void. I mean, that happened in China with the digital yuan. They asked people to start doing it, and then they can do things like put expiration dates on your digital yuan if you don't use it, or they can just take it away, or just vaporize it, which really is no different than money now, right? Someone can go tomorrow and just vaporize your bank account, and you're like, that's my money. I'm like, no, it's not here. It's in the banking system, and then you have to go through all of whatever the issues are to get that money back. Um, anyway, it's a whole thing, right? But what I would recommend, if you have some time, is kind of understand how this part works. This actually also works with, what Balaji at Network School has talked about with the idea of nation network states and how that happens, how the world will possibly, not saying it's going to happen, could possibly transition to such a move in the event that a new world order arises and the existing financial system breaks down. Remember, they want to bring everything from traditional finance on chain. It's been said by multiple world leaders. President Trump is very vocal about it because he has said multiple times the old financial system is broken. Could be also why he's put so much of his, I think we talked about it 3 weeks ago, more than 70% of his assets are in tech, in blockchain, right? Almost like 30% of the Trump family fortune is in blockchain, on chain. So let's go check out the articles. All right, again, so I did go back to using Sigma OS. I'm actually in the middle of kind of transforming my setup here. Um, I love my MacBook, always have. However, the biggest issue I have with my MacBook, it's an M1 Max with 32 gigs of RAM. Great, fantastic for editing. It's been great for everything I've needed to do for the past couple of years, 4 years now. The issue is that it's starting to show its age, right? We now have M5s coming out. There'll be the huge generational leap with regards to performance. The base iMac, the base Mac Mini, the base everything now comes at 16 gigs because of that, because of the LLM loads, why people are buying Mac Minis for OpenClaw and stuff like that. Ultimately, for me, I work best if I have multiple monitors, and the issue with multiple monitors on Mac OS, at least with DisplayLink, is in the event that, they can shut down all of the DisplayLink Manager will actually shut down your monitors if you have less than like 20 gigabytes left on your hard drive. And that's not that, it's just a design choice, right? It's a very annoying pop-up, but your system does get slower the less space you have available on your internal drive. Now you can use an external drive for that. There's ways around it, but still it can be a really big pain in the butt. Anyway, regardless, I've been setting up my older Windows box, which no longer has Windows on it because Windows frankly sucks. And I have many reasons for that. I'm not a big fan of Windows 11. So I've migrated to a Linux, a Universal Blue Fedora-based image called Bazite, which is really targeted towards gamers. They have one that's the same system, but it's targeted towards developers called Bluefin. And I got Bazite because I do like to game and stream and that type of stuff. And there's just innately better setups there. It's really interesting because it's an immutable OS. So you have very small amounts that you're able to change. It makes it easier to snapshot. It makes it easier to upgrade to on a rolling basis, which I think is cool. I think we need more immutable OSs. Yeah, it's great to tinker, and we had to tinker with Windows, right? Because there were just so many inefficiencies, the old DLL registries and all that type of stuff. I like the idea of an immutable OS really to just for this one reason. I want my operating system to just get out of the way of what I'm trying to do. I don't want the bottleneck of my computing experience to be the operating system. And living in a world where that happens is annoying. So on Bazite right now, everything on that it's fine. I'm not going to move all of my stuff over just yet. I may do it when I get back from Denver. And by the way, really excited to be at Denver this year. If you're going, let me know. Would love to just meet up and hang out and all that. Multiple people from our mastermind going. We're not going to be doing a dinner this year, but I will be, meeting up and just hanging out with people as warranted, really. I do have a lot of things on my plate. I'm only going this year from Wednesday to Saturday. Normally I'm there for 2 weeks. The past years I've been there. But this year I'm doing I just have, a lot going on. They changed the date too. Normally it's the last week of February, which would have been much better for me. Now it's this week. So to commemorate that, I'm wearing the first hat I ever got from Denver. I'm a big swag guy. I like to give away swag, and I still have bunches of things to give away that I still haven't done because I don't know. I need to work on that. But this is a Polygon Game Studios. Back when Polygon was all about gaming. Anybody remember that? I have this, and I have the white version too, which I really love. It's a unique version, but yeah, the white was hard to get. I actually had one of my members was nice enough to reserve me a white one, and was able to get that. So I always bring an extra big bag that's packable because I know I'm going to be bringing a lot of stuff back. So people ask what's the biggest swag that I like to get. Outside of hats, it's socks. Actually, I love. There are a lot of teams that make good socks. I will say I've gotten Hedera's socks every year. Fantastic socks. Last couple of years there've been some really good ones. Fuel, the L2. Hopefully they're still okay. They make good socks. Talisman Wallet makes fantastic socks. My gosh, I remember telling Robert, who's on our Wednesday podcast all the time, when he's working at Talisman, to where'd they get it from? He's gonna tell me the vendor, and we just haven't. Because I would buy all kinds of socks from that vendor. They're great. They're breathable. I'm kind of more of a merino wool person now. I wear a lot of merino wool and alpaca socks just because of the benefits there. Anyway, I'm rambling. Let's move on. So we should probably look at the market really quick to see where we are at. Coin market cap. All right, so we did reclaim 70 over the weekend, and now, just like the Dow, we are beneath that level. Thankfully, we're not below 50,000 like the Dow. But could you imagine if the Dow flips Bitcoin's price? The amount of people that would lose their minds and be frankly insufferable. But hopefully, ETH Denver this week, that gets a little bit more interest in ETH, and that brings the price back up. The conference run-up effect is what I like to consider it. Why does CoinMarketCap give me cookies? My God. Whatever. Yeah, so we're seeing a bit of a fairly okay repricing. We've been rangy, right? We've been rangy for the last, I'd say, even 3 weeks. From like this range, obviously the drop there, but we're just rangy here. So there's a lot of leverage being taken, I can tell you that, because there's a lot of people playing swings back and forth. And if you follow Polymarket, there are people who are all about that 5-minute market now, where you can say Bitcoin up or down. That's all I'm going to say about that, because there's a lot to unpack with that. But let's check out the articles right now. From Wall Street to Web3. This is crypto. Have I not been saying that for the last 6 months? Ugh. 2026 is the year of integration. Joe Lubin had from Consensus, had a talk in Consensus Hong Kong last week called going from DeFi to just Fi, because that's essentially what's happening. All of the migrations from TradFi into decentralized finance are going to be a big thing this year, in my personal opinion. Sorry, I'm just checking to see if I'm live on den.show. Okay, cool. Metaplanet reports a $619 million loss as Bitcoin holdings take hits. That's fine. Harvard endowment reduces Bitcoin ETF stake, adds Ether exposure. Interesting. Tokenized RWAs climb 13.5. Well, that makes sense. People are going to go towards. I mean, it's a tale as old as time, right? A lot of people, even if they don't like stable coins, they can respect the fact that we're looking at, and stablecoins 6 to 10%. But overall, most people, if they want true safety, they had T-bills, right? Because they want that 3 to 4% that they can definitely rely on. Mega ETH TVL rises 65% in a week, but the TGE conditions still remain unmet. Oh yeah, that's right, because they're going with a KPI-based launch. Well, we'll see how that goes. We'll see what happens during once the there's already been some things happening in Denver. The RWA day, actually multi-chain day is today, and there's an RWA day yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll see exactly how this kind of plays out. Nexo returns to the U.S. with crypto platform, yield programs, and lending. This is interesting. Okay. Well, I'm gonna save this only because we have a couple members who have exposure to Nexo. Grab this because I don't have anything there just yet about Mega ETH. PayJoin Foundation gains nonprofit status. Tax-deductible donations for Bitcoin privacy development. I mean, are you someone who would support that? I guess is probably the question. I think there will be a significant privacy meta this year, but we're still early. Still super early. I'm sure there will be people who will just do this for the deduction. Oh, let's grab it. Maybe someone will find the information useful. Shocker. American Bitcoin keeps stacking Bitcoin, now holds more than 6,000 BTC. I mean, they're at a significant discount right now. Why would you not? Am I right? How South Korea is using AI to detect crypto market manipulation. Oh, I mean, do you really need AI to help you realize when market manipulation's happening, guys? I don't. Do you? Fun. All right. So I haven't seen the jobs report. I woke up thinking today was Sunday. Good hour and a half. I thought today was Sunday. Like it wasn't until I went because I slept in. I got out of I was scrolling and I was reading the Ray Dalio thing earlier. I was laying in bed for quite some time, just scrolling and just trying to figure out, what I want to do because I told myself on Sunday I was going to try and work on my on what I'm going to be wearing at East Denver. Uh, One thing I'm going to do. So if you see me, I'm going to be. So what I've decided to do is, I think here, yeah, here, and here, here. I'm just going to put in small font, the DeFi professor on both sides, or maybe just one or the other. Probably this side because when you meet people, right? The reason why you wear your name tag here on the right side of your chest is that if you most people will shake with their do left-handers shake with their left hand? I don't know. You shake somebody with your right hand, you then get that line looking down as you grab their hand to their arm. And then I'm just going to have the DeFi professor right there. So I'm just going for something very subtle. Um, for those who know me, I do quite a bit of the merch that I've always worn for Beacon. So I'll just be mainly just kind of doing that. So I'll just say the DeFi professor. So if you want to say hey, that'd be awesome. I also have a black trucker hat with a white front that I'm probably gonna put something. I even thought about, like, as dark as it sounds, doing like a painted on thing in DeFi that's kind of blood red. Just kind of signifying that I put my blood, sweat, and tears in this, and I'm not leaving. Hopefully you're not leaving, because I'm certainly not leaving. Why would I after the Ray Dalio thing, right? Because it's all about being bankless, having self custody. Then no one can take your money. All right, so jobs report led to a little bit of market slump. That makes sense. Oh, there we go. There we go. Ray Dalio's world order warning revives case for Bitcoin as neutral money. Doesn't have to be Bitcoin. It could be anything, even XRP. Or ADA. Or Doge. Are we going to see a huge push in terms of those types of coins as well? Bitcoin could fall to 10,000 as U.S. recession risk builds. I don't think that's going to happen, brother. That's a little too bearish, in my opinion. I've seen people talk about 35, 40K, but again, if you're using past performance as a template for what's going to happen, it's hard to say, because there's no such thing as a 4-year cycle anymore, in my opinion. All right, so we have this. We're at a deadlock now. See, the problem is that the banks were given time to think about this, and now they're just stalling. So we'll see. I still think they get it pushed through, just because, well, I'm sure they're back-channeling all kinds of stuff to try and get this to go through. But if it does go through, bad bill or not, maybe they can figure out a way to amend to it so Coinbase can actually make more money. We'll see. And a Mocha gets a Dubai money license. Interesting. Well, I'm actually not surprised by this, because the thing is that at least in the Emirate of Dubai, you have to have this license in order to actually even talk to any Dubai citizens as customers. This is no different, I think, than the New York BIT license that they've had for years. And California's goes into effect this July, where they're going to need specific state licenses to do business of any kind. Okay. Solana price prediction: Standard Chartered cuts their target to $2,000 by 2030. I mean, how bullish is that? Right? Because Solana's at like $75 right now. So if you I am bullish on Solana, because they've got the chops. They've got Kalshi, they've got perps, they've got RWAs. Ultimately, now that they're trying to push out the rest of the Fire Dancer clients and the upgrades to Alpenglow and all this stuff to the network, do they get back to the all-time high of to $300? Yeah, I think it's a fairly easy bet. So obviously not financial advice, do your own research. But the thing with Solana is It'll always be, in my opinion, the people's blockchain. There'll always be people wanting to use Solana. It's fast, it's cheap. They do have good DeFi on it now. That's not something you could have said 2 years ago. Robust DeFi is the better word, because there's always been good DeFi, right? If we talk about Jupiter, Orca, Radium, Meteora, and now they've got way more that are out there now, right? So you even have things like Drift and Camino, multiple other protocols that are out there. It'll get better. CZ echoes consensus panelist on lack of privacy that's blocking the crypto adoption. That's part of it. Privacy is going to be huge moving forward, but frankly, most people are still very institutional focused, right? They're only going to trust something if institutions are using it, which they're going to be doing it this year. So I think crypto adoption improves over the next 3 years. And whether they like it or not, things like Polymarket and Kalshi, which are going to be arriving in hands of users this year in their phones. You'll be able to actually vote on markets from your phone in real time. Most people aren't going to realize that that's actually a crypto solution, a crypto-based or a blockchain-based solution. But it's going to happen. And privacy is going to be a big thing. Now, the argument here isn't necessarily privacy or not, because the issue right now is that blockchain transactions, they're immutable, meaning they can't be changed, but they're also public, which worries people, right? Because you have people who, have big money, people like to track big money wallets, regardless of who owns them, which the majority of those accounts, the wide majority, 99% of them, we don't know who owns them. The 1% that we do know are tracked by things because of transactions that have happened in the past. Now you could use all kinds of OSINT tools to figure out ties and stuff like that, to figure things out. But overall, most people want privacy just for the sake of having that freedom, right? If I'm self-custodying my assets, I should be able to do so in a private manner. That seems to, for a lot of people, to be a fundamental human right. Kevin O'Leary wins a defamation suit against Ben Armstrong. BitBoy. I tell you what, I wasn't expecting to see BitBoy at ETH Denver last year. He walked right in front of me. I actually happened to be, it was the last day, and I was at the injective booth. There wasn't a lot of people left, right? Because people were already packing up their booths and going home. And I just happened to sit down because I was looking to, God, I want to say what I was doing was I was trying to get my phone situated, because I was going to do a little bit of a walk and talk vlog. And I sat down at the injective booth because I had just gotten this hat. Yes, I keep my hats in a pile over here and figure out which one I'm going to wear right before I go on stream. But I had just picked up a couple of these hats. I was talking to the BD person, and they're like, yeah, take them all. I'm like, okay, cool. So I took 5. I've given away quite a few. But, yeah. This hat was clean as hell, dude. Let me tell you. Yeah, this hat's clean. Love it. And so I'm sitting there just looking at my phone, trying to get my bearings on, is anybody else still around? And I look up, and literally BitBoy with, wearing a white hoodie, his face kind of fucked up because I think he was doing something, I'm sure. And this dude who was like, I guess his bodyguard, he went and sat down and talked to the BD person, and was just kind of talking to her casually. I'm like, is BitBoy literally sitting 5 feet away from me? And I was just trying to figure out, because he was very trying to talk very quietly and stuff like that. So I thought it was very interesting. But anyway, I don't even know if he has any money to pay off Kevin O'Leary. All right. So I haven't read this, but I saw that Stanley Kulichov had posted about an abundance asset. So I don't know a whole lot about this. I'll save this, even though I have it saved in my bookmarks on Twitter. Russians move 129 billion in crypto yearly outside our attention. You know who moved a lot of money outside their attention? Jeffrey Epstein. Not saying that I'm going to talk too much about that. But I was reading an article recently saying that he actually moved a lot of money around using World of Warcraft gold. I was like, that's a thing? So there's all kinds of things that you can do to move money around. Doesn't make crypto bad. It's just using the system. People will use it for bad things. We don't need to have a conversation about how much money has been laundered that's the US dollar. Grayscale seeks to convert Aave Trust into an ETF on the ARCA market. That's interesting. It's good for Aave. Apollo is now in lending as a risk curator for Morpho. Okay. That's actually big news too. Grab that. If anything, it's good for the Morpho token, right? Because they're buying up to 90 million Morpho tokens. I'm a big believer in a lot of these AMM marketplaces, whether it's Morpho, Pendle, Euler. There's a whole bunch that are out there, right? Fluid. I think all of them have a chance to be really great picks moving forward. And I've always, most of my bag has always been infrastructure. So I like that move. Oh no. Oh no. Ordinals. Shout out to anybody who still uses ordinals, runes, or arcanes. Or alkanes, sorry. Talk to me in the comments. Tell me about how things are going with ordinals and alkanes. I know people have made some has made some big money off that type of stuff, so. That's a slippery slope. Prediction markets versus insider trading. Founders admit blockchain transparency is the only defense. I mean, XRP outruns Bitcoin, Ether after investors piled into the recent crash. Study suggests World Liberty Financial could act as an early warning signal in crypto. I don't know about that. XRP raises on Brad Garlinghouse being put into the CFTC Innovation Advisory Committee. I mean, you guys know that there's like 35 other people in there, right? That's an interesting call. He's on the committee. Buy more. You know what Ripple needs to do? Not hold so much XRP. Senators asked Bessent to probe. All right. I know it doesn't look right. It doesn't look good, regardless of how she looks at this. It's a bad look, right? But the problem is, he wasn't president when this happened, guys. He wasn't inaugurated until January 20th. This happened well before then. It probably was in the works for quite some time. Their group doesn't do anything, quickly. Uh-oh. Blockchain lender confirms major customer data breach. Which one? Is this the European one? Are they not going to name the exchange? I'll find out who it is. Oh, blockchain lender. Right, this is Figure. My bad. Yeah, Figure had a data breach. Yeah, I mean this could be a problem because the majority of tranches that come from Figure are HELOCs. So I don't know if this leads to issues with people who hold a HELOC through Figure or Provenance, the other company that it gets through, or even people who KYC'd to buy tranches, right? There's that too. Nikita Beer says in-app trading is coming in a couple of weeks. All right, so I don't. That's not what you think it is, guys. It's using smart cash tags. I want to say that unless they've changed it, the partnership is still with. Is it Tezos? They signed a contract. Oh, eToro. It should be eToro. Maybe that deal's done, but at the time they had signed a deal either with eToro, I believe, to because the cash tags. If you click on a cash tag, which is the dollar sign and the ticker, you should be able to purchase that through a third party. It's not going to be on the platform, just so you guys know. Twitter or X is not becoming a trading house. They don't have the infrastructure nor the people apparently to do that. I mean, I think I saw in another post that X only has 30 employees, which I'm just like, why did you do that? But then they just merged XAI and SpaceX, right? And I'm maybe Tesla. No, Tesla probably won't happen, but XAI and SpaceX are now one company, so they've laid off even more people. The Genius Act ripple effect. This is probably an ad for Sui. Institutional demand has never been higher. No, that's true. I mean, everyone's moving on chain this year, guys. That's probably gonna be the overwhelming part of ETH Denver. Is we'll see a lot of like builders. We'll probably see a lot of suits walking around, talking about institutional stuff because they want in. They've wanted in for years. Now it's the integration of actually getting that stuff. They're migrating infrastructure on chain. They're not starting over. They've been working on this for years. Now, see, this is cool. This is something that's been talked about previously. One other part of, man, I wish I had that haircut. I miss having hair. The distribution mechanisms for things like nonprofit finance, for charities, it's really great when it comes to blockchains. That was a beautiful thing about when Vitalik Buterin created a fund or contributed a lot of money to a fund for Ukraine. That money was able to go through, and the best part is that because it's on chain, you don't have any of that red tape. You don't have any of the red tape, any of the bureaucratic bullshit you'd have, for nonprofits and What's the proper tax structure, and stuff like that. I mean, this is charity, guys. Right. Marshall Islands is the pilot for pardon me, for social benefit programs on chain. Shout out to Saipan. Nothing crazy. Nothing crazy to really. It's a fairly light week, right? Um, Although, I mean, if we talk about people leaving, right, that's been a thing, whether they have been doing the gracious, I'm thankful for my time at X or Y company, and then the obligatory vesting cliff reached meme that appears on a lot of these. There's a lot of shakeups going on, whether it's because people want to change or because change is needed because change hasn't been happening fast enough in the industry, which I think the latter is probably more true. Because DeFi moves so quickly, I think people wanted that paradigm shift of what's happening this year, probably 2 years ago, if I'm being honest. Lighter enables unified collateral for spot and futures trading. That's something you could do. Keep that. Yep, I talked about this last week. Once the Clarity Act is passed, probably sentiment rises. Anchorage and Camino let institutions borrow against Sol without moving custody. Interesting. Qualified custody, what does that mean? Under the structure, institutions can use natively staked Sol as collateral for on-chain borrowing while the assets remain held at Anchorage. Okay. This is interesting mainly because this is probably what a lot of institutions are going to do, right? Something like this, absolutely, we're going to see something like this with Circle, with Coinbase, with Paxos, with Ripple, even. Why? This is a very easy way to have good, deep liquidity for each of these companies. Especially if Clarity passes, this is going to become very regular. Brazil proposes national Bitcoin reserve, targets 1 million Bitcoin over 5 years. Are they actually going to buy Bitcoin or is it going to be seized? No, they're actually going to accumulate. It also prohibits the sale of Bitcoin seized by Brazilian, I almost said jiu-jitsu, Brazilian judicial authorities, ensuring that these assets remain within public control. Yeah, I have a problem with that statement. That doesn't make any sense. That's not good. Remain within public control. That's not happening. Okay, so they're gonna be self-custodying it. Who knew? Self-custody? What's that? Oh, you silly, silly people. Let's grab that. Looks like more wrench attacks. Gotta be careful while you're out there.
Hey, come on. You know what we don't have? Weapons.
Crypto CEO gets 20 years for $200 million Bitcoin Ponzi scheme. Ramil Palafox.
I know.
Shame on you, Ramil Palafox. Deribitixx says Bitcoin's long-term rally is broken until it reclaims 85. Strata launches NUSD tranching. Right, that's for neutral. That's on ETH mainnet. ETHZilla offers token tied to jet engine leases and tokenization pivot. Interesting. I mean that's certainly one way to raise money. Oh wow. And again, this is 2026 in the US. This is a midterm election year. We're going to see a lot of interesting volatility leading up to that election. Um, Especially if the Republicans lose a lot of seats and if the House flips, oh no. Then we get gridlock. Then we get nothing for the next 2 years. Because unless something changes, that's just, yeah. We're going to get what we saw in the last two administrations. Oh right. Yes, yes. This is for Christian Menefee, who won that special election vote. Well, Al, if you oppose crypto, you are gonna get ran against pretty hard. Hmm. Stripe acquires the Party DAO team. They did this with actually Coinbase did that with Vector, not Stripe. All right, Eventual's trading volume finally with HIP3 surged 100% in 17 days. This is Fetterman. Oh, Warner.
Mom, wait.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I still think it goes through. They're gonna do whatever they can to get this through, in my personal opinion. Even if President Trump has to walk down to or send Vance down to just stand there and just look at people. All right, that's all for that. Not really getting anything else there. Let's check out what's on Google News. We'll refresh the page. Nope. It's been since June that they've approved a license in Hong Kong. Wow, that's interesting. I thought they would have been just jamming as many of those through as possible. I mean, whether China likes it or not, I mean, you can get a lot of money out of this game. They just don't like the permissionless part. I get that, but I mean, you're allowing Hong Kong to do it, so why not try and maxi all the money that you can make? It's not like you guys don't need it. All right, so what is our fear and greed index looking like? Let's go back to CoinMarketCap. 12. Oh, it's actually risen quite a bit. Okay. Yep, hefty war chest for the midterms. Crypto investors who don't fill out this new tax form the right way could overpay on their taxes. I'll have to talk to our friends at Awaken.tax about this. Ah, yes, the 1099 DA. Hmm. All right, so it's finally going to go into effect next year. And this is the important part, right? You have to figure out your cost basis. Now, not tax advice. You should be paying your taxes. But a lot of this is at the centralized exchange level, right? That while they have, I mean, that they're not going to have the people necessary to go through and weave through millions of wallets. They just don't. They're not going to use AI for it either because they don't have the money. Frankly, President Trump and Doge have gone through and they've tried to skin the entire the entire government to try and save money wherever they can, right? Doge stuff. But this is important. If you cannot provide cost basis for any asset that you're purchasing, they will just zero it out. And that's a much bigger tax burden that you have to pay for. Now, if you use the correct, correct tax preparer, like our friends at Awaken.tax, use our code, you get 25% off from Beacon. That's something that you should be looking at. But be careful. If you do your own taxes, I would recommend using Awaken to double check on that. Yeah, there's a variety of things that you should do. Again, not tax advice. All right, well. We'll look at DeFi Llama, and then we'll be done. But first, if you want to support, please like, subscribe if you're finding value. This is my creator homepage here at flix.fun. At C Soriano. Check that out. I am on pretty much all things now as the DeFi professor. TikTok, Instagram, Zora, YouTube. Could use I need more subscribers for Rumble at the DeFi professor. So if you want, I can only do this many. I can't put everything on here. So yeah, would really appreciate the support. If you're gonna be in Denver, let me know. Llama feeds. Llama sustains. I wish I could just make this larger. Hmm. One thing I did want to voice break. One thing I did want to point out that I thought was fun, and this is something that let me get back to this. D-Bridge is doing something interesting, and they're calling it vibe trading with an MCP, a model context protocol for AI agents. So now you will have the ability to have a universal trading API. What does this mean? This means that you'll be using agents now moving forward. Yeah, you'll still be doing yield positions yourself. But from a trading standpoint, we're in a position now that, frankly, anyone can set up their own thing, and that's the fun part. Very early. This was just announced today. Um, don't know how I'll be covering this or looking into this, but it's something that if people are curious about on content, happy to create content to help you create your own AI agent. Um, the OpenClaw thing is fun, right? The so let's talk about Peter Steinberger. Well, yeah, we'll take Evan's post on this. So, and honestly, this is probably the biggest news of the weekend. Even though it's not, it kind of is crypto related, but it's not because he doesn't like crypto people apparently. Peter. So he created Claude as an AI assistant bot, CLAWD, right? Um, it caught on very quickly. A lot of people on Twitter started running it because it's easy, was easy to put together. People were buying Mac Minis to just set things up. He got a cease and desist letter from Anthropic because Anthropic was looking to create their own suite based off of what they had just released in Claude Cowork, which I'm not gonna say that was an inspiration for Peter, because frankly he's made money, but also there's a coding agent that OpenClaw is built on top of called Pi. So the technology was for the most part there. It was about someone creating something that became that huge idea. The rumor is that they bought Peter for $1 billion. I mean, this is very similar to Meta buying Instagram for what, 2 billion or something like that, or however much it was. It was at the time it seemed like a ridiculous number, but think about how much money Meta has made with Instagram. Way, way fulfilled its ROI on that, right? People are calling it the fumble of the decade because instead of trying to help Peter and create something, because there was some talk there, all they did was send him cease and desist letters. So we had to change the name from Claude to Molt to then Moltbot, and then OpenClaw became the name of the project. And then it just kind of caught fire for 2 weeks, right? And then OpenAI throws a gazillion dollars at him, which is what he was looking for. To be to be honest, right? In my personal opinion, he was looking for the payout because there were all kinds of I know people on Banker, on Base, people on Pump, or I'm sorry, on Bags, on Solana, had created tokens for OpenClaw. Was it OpenClaw? Couple couple of different tokens, trying to get him to take the fees. Didn't take them. He doesn't like crypto. He's shocked that crypto has taken his idea and really ran with it, to be honest. I think this was probably the plan all along, was to make enough noise that someone would acquihire him. And acquihire him is what OpenAI did. The fact that Anthropic couldn't get their head out of their ass to see that they could have worked with him and done way more, and maybe they did. Maybe they made an offer, but OpenAI was like, nope, we're gonna grab this guy. And now, Codex 5.3 is probably going to be the hallmark first choice. Obviously, they're going to keep it open source, but and have the best support for OpenClaw moving forward. Um, I've been dabbling with this for the last 3 weeks since day one, and it for what I need to do with it, it hasn't been very good. It hasn't been a very smooth experience to me personally. I think it's fine if you're willing to invest thousands of dollars, which I'm not looking to do. I'm looking for something to help me with productivity that isn't going to cost an arm and a leg. Because some people are sitting here, on thousands of dollars for AI bills, right? For tokens and stuff like that. But yeah, but the fact that he's joining OpenAI is just chef's kiss, right? Good for you, Peter. I hope you can continue now to hire people so you don't have to do the lion's share of the work, because OpenClaw is, I think it's almost 500,000 lines of code now. It's a ridiculous amount. The number of pull requests or PRs on the repository are massive, massive numbers. So he's going to need people to chip in and help out, and of course people get paid for that. Why not? This is going to help with a lot of that. Do we see a rise in AI assistance because of this? Yeah, I think we do. I think we see quite a bit. It's all a matter of how this kind of shakes out, right? But we'll see. Pardon me. With vibe trading, called vibe trading, AI assistance, people using it for prediction market arbitrage, all kinds of arbitrage. It's going to be a very interesting next half of the year. Interesting. This will be interesting too, to see where Seed Dance goes, based on how Hollywood's going to attack it. And again, could be another issue here where I don't know what happens, but we'll see. Nobody wants, artists' work to go the way of the dodo in that way, right? We don't want the rest of the industry to be AI created stuff, right? At least I don't want that. We'll see what happens. Anyway, we're in a really interesting intersection of where, on-chain, AI, tech, all coming together in one spot. I don't know where all of this goes, but I'm very curious to see if there can be significant productivity and technology gains overall for just overall wealth generation and investing. Because crypto, digital assets, whatever you want to call it, and AI is a marriage that was foretold a long time ago, and is a very easy partnership that makes a lot of sense. Are there AI bots doing gambling yet? I'm sure there are. They have to, right? Like literally like a roll bit or stake, or some of these other Web3 based casinos. There has to be someone going after that, right? I don't know. Anyway, that's all I got for today. Again, appreciate the support. Like, follow, subscribe, whatever platform you're on. I do need more. I would like to start streaming on Rumble, just because we need to build awareness for financial literacy, digital assets, get people understanding, the whole Ray Dalio thing. It's time to really embrace self-custody if you have not. And would love the assistance and your support. I'm still working on my ebooks. I've been super locked down with a whole bunch of other stuff, but I am going to be releasing the ebooks soon. And again, it's just a series that I've written that are aimed at people who are either crypto curious or know nothing about this arena and think crypto is a scam. That's my target audience because most people need to understand if banks and everything have already migrated over and they've been here testing for 2 years, you guys are way too late. But that doesn't mean you don't have the ability to take advantage of all the technology ahead of you. Self custody is going to be needed, guys. What are you going to do if we get another Great Depression and all the banks, well, not all the banks, but quite a few banks fail, except the too big to fail ones, right? Pardon me. You should have the freedom to self custody your assets and do whatever you like with them, cross borders, send money, without needing to deal with all of that. So DeFi fixes that. Blockchain fixes that. And yeah, excited to see everybody. I won't be arriving into Denver until Wednesday afternoon, and I'll be leaving early Saturday. But if you happen to be there in between that little time, would love to would love to see you, shake your hand, and talk shop for a little bit. Take care. Oh 07. Have a great day. Oh, and I should probably say there's no shows this week outside of today's show because of course I'll be out and about. I'm making a lot of content. I'm going to be doing some interviews. Going to be looking for interviews, just vlogs, all that stuff. I'm going to be mainly probably using the iPhone for that. I am bringing the camera with me, but I don't know exactly what to do with it just yet. And that answer may be, frankly, nothing. The iPhone is very goated uh, when it comes to video. If there's one thing that the iPhone's great at, it's video. And I have wireless lav mics and all that. So be on the lookout for content because I'm going to try my best to get as much out of this trip as possible. See you later. Have a good day.